Okay, part two. All of these factors may be coming into play, but you're assuming that your boss doesn't like you, right? So that doesn't mean that checking the facts, your boss is going to open up and tell you all of these things. But at least you can get some facts, some hardcore evidence down on paper, and you may not even have hardcore evidence. You may find that it's only how you feel and not based on any fact at all. Okay, so that's that. Um, could I be misinterpreting the evidence? Am I making any assumptions? This is where I want you to write down the assumptions that you're making. Any assumption when it comes to this person, this situation, this circumstance that you're making, I want you to write it down. Anything that you don't have evidence for, but this is what you're assuming, because that is what we do. We assume a lot of things, and it really gets us in trouble. It gets us in trouble emotionally, and it gets us in trouble in our relationships when really, we really need to do the work. We really need to put ourselves out there to check the facts and understand that we can live in our own set of reality sometimes. And it's important to take ourselves out of our own reality and see the bigger picture. Another question that you're gonna look at is, might other people have a different interpretation? So instead of going to your boss, maybe you go to somebody that you work with and you go, man, I really don't feel like John likes me a lot. Like, what do you think? Not to start gossip, but to really do your due diligence on checking the facts. Maybe you don't feel comfortable going straight to him about this question or about your concern. So maybe you go to somebody that you trust that is also in that same environment with you. Am I looking at all the evidence or just what supports my thought? So some of these might feel repetitious, but it's important to answer them because you're answering the question, do you have evidence, or does your evidence support what's in your head, or does it really go outside the lines of what's in your head and look at all of the evidence that's in play? And this is a really good relationship builder too, especially if you feel like there's tension with a child that you have, or a spouse, or a best friend, anything. This is a really good exercise because a lot of the times the things that come between relationships are assumptions that we make based on how we feel and not fact and evidence. Could my thought be an exaggeration of what's true? So one of the faulty ways of thinking is kind of making what my mom used to say, a mountain out of a molehill. So exaggerating what's actually going on rather than just looking at the evidence of what's going on. Am I having this thought out of habit, or do the facts support it? So this is what you're going to go back to what we talked about last week. We want to form new habits when it comes to our thoughts. So the next thing that we're going to talk about, so you're going to do this week. I'm going to send this to you in an email format. You're going to print it off or save it and fill it out. You're going to do that this week, but you're also going to continue to name your emotions, as well as naming the triggers that triggered those emotions. So this tool is really going to help you to continue to do that. Okay? And so that is what we're really going to concentrate on this week, is checking the facts when it comes to how we feel, and making sure that those feelings and those thoughts, those negative thoughts, are accurate. So what else? So your emotions may not be based on outside circumstances or outside people. Maybe you're totally fine with the people that are in your world, and you don't really have the ebbs and flows of emotions because of different people or circumstances. Maybe it's something with you that you're dealing with. Maybe it's negative thoughts about yourself that you're dealing with. I'm not good enough, or I failed so much in my life and I'm a failure. Maybe it's those negative thoughts that are weighing you down and keeping you stuck in this place. So you can utilize this exercise in that realm too. You can combat that negative thought with evidence. And when you do that, then I want you to also combat that negative thought, like we talked about last week, replacing the thought with what is true. And I want you to continue to do that along with this exercise this week. So when you have that negative thought come into your mind, I'm a failure. No, I'm not. I am successful. There is a plan for me. The plans for me are good and not to harm me, plans to give me a hope and a future. You start to claim those true statements about who you are. For me, those true statements always go back to scripture. I'm always going to do my due diligence in trying to combat those negative thoughts that I might have about myself, about my circumstances, about my situation. I'm always going to try to combat that with the truth of scripture, because that is my truth. And sometimes I fall prey to believing the lies. And so what better way to stop the lies is to replace it with the truth. And we talked about that. If you want to review on how we step by step do that, then go back to my video last week, because I talked a lot about the step-by-step process of doing just that. And it's really important for you to write down those thoughts, or the truth that combats that negative thought. It's super important for you to do that, because then you have it tangible. It's right there. It's right there for you to read, for you to reference anytime you have those negative thoughts stirring up in your mind, okay? So I want you to make sure that you do that. If you have any questions about our homework this week, about anything that I'm talking about, then please, please, please reach out to me through email. My phone number is on my email, so you can text me. You can attempt to call me. I know sometimes I have my kids running around and we're doing homework in the late afternoons and things like that. But I will do my best to get back to you. So if you have any questions about this, how to implement this, how to incorporate it in your day-to-day life, then please reach out to me and let me know. I'm giving you some valuable tools if you will use them on a daily basis. So if you use them on a daily basis, then before you know it, it's going to be a weekly basis, and then a monthly basis. And then before you know it, you've changed your mindset, and you're not necessarily using the hardcore or the hard pieces of information that I'm giving you, but it's a natural response that comes when a situation comes your way. Then you're able to, okay, I'm going to check the facts. I'm going to do my due diligence, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to make sure that I know what this situation really is based off fact and not my feelings. So once you do this and you make these things a habit in your life, then it becomes your habit now, and you don't have to work so hard at it. So changing our habits takes work. It takes consistency. It takes accuracy. It takes adhering to the program. You know this by doing macros. And so I encourage you, stay consistent with this and make sure that you utilize these tools that I'm giving you on a daily basis until it becomes weekly, until it becomes monthly, until it becomes your habit. All right? Have a great week. I look forward to hearing from each of you. If you have any questions, let me know.